Hey, have you ever typed something like SSH user at server.com into your terminal and just connect it to a computer on the other side of the world? No password flying through the air, no hacker intercepting anything. Just boom, you're in. But how? How does that actually work under the hood? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. In plain English, no boring textbook stuff. Welcome to this deep dive on SSH. Let's go.
Okay, so first things first. SSH stands for Secure Shell. It's a network protocol, basically a set of rules, that lets you securely connect to another computer over an unsecured network, like the internet. Before SSH existed, people used something called Telnet. And Telnet was, well, a privacy nightmare. Everything, your username, your password, every command you typed was sent in plain text, completely readable by anyone snooping on the network. SSH was invented in 1995 by a Finnish computer scientist named Tatu Jolonen, specifically to fix that problem, and it's been the gold standard for secure remote access ever since.
Now you might be wondering, okay, SSH lets you connect securely, but what exactly can you do with it? Great question. With SSH, you can remotely log into a server and run commands as if you were sitting right in front of it. You can transfer files securely using SCP or SFTP. You can tunnel other traffic through SSH, like forwarding a database port from a remote server to your local machine. You can automate deployments, manage cloud servers on AWS or Google Cloud, and even set up Git operations over SSH. Basically, if you're a developer, sysadmin, or DevOps engineer, SSH is one of your most used tools, period.
Alright, let's talk about the two players in every SSH connection. You have the SSH client, that's your laptop, your local machine, whatever you're typing from. And you have the SSH server, the remote machine you want to connect to, usually running a Linux server somewhere. When you type that SSH command, your client reaches out to the server over TCP, specifically on port 22 by default. The server goes, "Hey, who's there?" The client identifies itself. They shake hands, they negotiate encryption, and then the secure channel opens. It sounds complex, but we're going to walk through each step, so it'll feel completely natural.
Let's talk about port 22 for a second. Every SSH server listens on port 22 by default. Think of your server as a big building with thousands of doors. Those are ports. Port 22 is a specific door reserved for SSH traffic. When your client sends a connection request, it knocks on door 22. The server opens it. Now, a lot of security-conscious admins actually change SSH from port 22 to something non-standard, like 2222 or 5522. Why? Because automated bots constantly scan the internet for port 22, trying to brute force in. Changing the port is a basic security measure. It reduces noise from automated attacks. Now let's walk through the actual SSH connection process step by step. This is where things get really interesting. Step 1. The TCP handshake. Before any SSH magic happens, your client and server establish a plain old TCP connection. That's the standard internet reliability layer. Then, and this is SSH specific, both sides announce which version of SSH they support. SSH version 1 is old, deprecated, and has known security flaws. SSH version 2 is what everyone uses today. If both sides support SSH 2, great, they proceed. Think of it as both parties saying, "Hey, do we speak the same language?" Yes? Perfect. Let's continue. Step 2 is algorithm negotiation. This is where the client and server agree on exactly how they're going to encrypt your data. They send each other lists of supported algorithms, things like AES 256 for encryption, SHA-2 for data integrity verification, and Diffie-Hellman or ECDH for key exchange. They pick the strongest algorithm both sides support. It's like two people deciding how to communicate securely. Do we use code A, code B, or code C? They pick the best one they both know. This negotiation happens automatically, right at the start of every connection, before any data is transmitted. Okay, this next step is genuinely mind-blowing, so stay with me. Step 3. Key exchange using Diffie-Hellman. Here's the problem.
The client and server need to agree on a secret encryption key, but they've never communicated before, and anyone could be listening on the network. How do you share a secret with someone when every message might be intercepted? The answer is Diffie-Hellman. Here's the analogy. Imagine you and a friend each pick a secret color. You both mix your secret color into a shared public color. You exchange the mixtures. You each add your own secret color back in. Even though an eavesdropper saw your mixtures, they can't figure out your secrets, and you both end up with the same final color. That final color is your shared encryption key. Great, so now both client and server have independently arrived at the same shared secret, without ever sending that secret over the network. This shared secret is used to derive what's called the session key, and from this point on, all communication between client and server is encrypted with this symmetric session key. Symmetric means both sides use the same key to encrypt and decrypt. It's incredibly fast. Everything you type, every response you get, every file you transfer, all of it gets locked up in this key. And the key only exists for the duration of your session. When you log out, the key is discarded. Next time you connect, you get a brand new key. Now, here's a question that doesn't get enough attention. How does your client know it's talking to the right server and not some imposter in the middle? This is where host key verification comes in. Every SSH server has a unique fingerprint, its host key. The first time you connect to a server, SSH shows you that fingerprint and asks if you trust it. If you say yes, it's saved in a file called known_hosts on your machine. Every future connection checks, does this server's fingerprint match what we saved? If it matches, you're in. If it doesn't, SSH throws a big red warning. That could mean someone is intercepting your connection, a man-in-the-middle attack. Alright, the tunnel is set up and encrypted. Now comes step 4, proving who you are. The first method is the simplest, password authentication. You type your password, it travels through the encrypted tunnel to the server checks it against its user database, and if it matches, you're in. The password is encrypted since it travels through the SSH tunnel, so it's safe from network sniffing. But there's still a risk, brute force attacks. If your password is weak, an attacker who can reach port 22 can try millions of passwords automatically. That's why password authentication is often disabled on production servers. There's a much better way, key-based auth, which we'll cover next. Here's the method most professionals prefer, SSH key authentication. It uses a key pair, a public key and a private key. They're mathematically linked. Here's how it works. You generate a key pair on your local machine. The public key gets copied to the server's authorized keys file. The private key stays on your machine, never leaves. When you connect, the server sends a challenge encrypted with your public key. Only your private key can solve it. Your client decrypts the challenge and sends back proof without ever transmitting the key itself. The server verifies the response. If correct, you're authenticated. No password sent over the network. Elegant, fast, and dramatically more secure. Let me show you exactly how to create your SSH key pair. On your terminal, you run ssh-keygen-t ed25519-c, your email. ed25519 is a modern, highly secure key algorithm. The -c flag adds a comment so you can identify the key. You'll be asked where to save it. The default is your home directory in a hidden .ssh folder. You can also set a passphrase for extra protection. This generates two files, ID_ed25519, your private key, keep this absolutely sacred, and ID_ed25519.pub, your public key, which you can freely share. Then copy the public key to your server using ssh-copy-id user@server. Simple as that. You're now set up for key-based authentication. Here's a little-known SSH feature that will genuinely change your workflow, the SSH config file. Imagine connecting to 5 different servers, each with different usernames, ports, and key files. Typing all that every time is painful. Instead, you create a file at ~/.ssh/config. Inside, you define blocks like host, my server, hostname 192.168.1.10, user Ubuntu, port 2222, identity file tilde/.ssh/id_ed25519. Now, instead of typing that massive command, you just type ssh my server. Done. The config file handles everything. You can have as many host blocks as you need. Once you start using this, you will never go back to typing long commands. SSH has a superpower most beginners don't know about: port forwarding, also called SSH tunneling. Say you have a database running on your remote server at localhost port 5432. That port is firewalled. The outside world can't touch it. But with SSH local forwarding, you run SSH-L 5432:localhost:5432 user @ server. Now your local machine's localhost port 5432 connects straight to that remote database through the encrypted SSH tunnel. No firewall rules to open, no insecure connections. This works for databases, web servers, admin panels, anything running locally on the server. It's one of the most powerful and underused features of SSH. Need to move files to or from a remote server? SSH has you covered with two tools: SCP and SFTP. SCP stands for Secure Copy Protocol. It's simple and command line based. You write SCP myfile.txt user @ server:/destination path. That copies the file securely over SSH. Great for quick transfers. SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol, is a more interactive session where you can navigate directories, list files, upload and download interactively. It's like FTP but completely encrypted. GUI tools like FileZilla or CyberDuck support SFTP, giving you a visual file manager over SSH. Both SCP and SFTP use the exact same SSH encryption layer you've already learned about. Here's another power move: the SSH agent. When your private key has a passphrase, which it should, you normally have to type it every time you connect. The SSH agent is a background process that holds your decrypted key in memory. You type your passphrase once using SSH add and then connect to any server without typing it again for the whole session. Even better is agent forwarding. Say you're on server A and need to SSH to server B. Normally, you'd need your private key on server A, which is risky. With agent forwarding, server A forwards authentication back to your local SSH agent. Your private key never leaves your laptop. It's beautifully secure.
All right, let's talk security best practices, because knowing SSH isn't enough. You need to use it securely. First, disable password authentication. In your SSH config file, that's etc/ssh/sshd_config, set password authentication to no. Force key-based auth only. Second, disable root login. Set permit root login to no. Third, change the default port from 22 to reduce automated bot scanning. Fourth, use fail to ban to automatically block IPs with too many failed attempts. Fifth, always use SSH version 2. And sixth, keep your SSH server and client software updated. These aren't optional on production environments. They're the minimum baseline to keep your servers safe. In the real world, SSH is absolutely everywhere. Every cloud provider, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, uses SSH key authentication when you spin up a Linux virtual machine. Developers push code to GitHub and GitLab over SSH. CI/CD pipelines deploy to servers automatically using SSH. Docker, Kubernetes, and Ansible all leverage SSH under the hood for remote operations. Penetration testers use SSH for secure access during authorized tests. Even embedded IoT devices often run minimal SSH servers for remote management. SSH is the backbone of modern infrastructure. If you work in tech, you will use SSH daily. And now that you understand how it works, you have a massive edge over those who just type the command without thinking. All right, let's bring it all together.
SSH, Secure Shell, is a cryptographic network protocol for securely connecting to remote computers. It replaced insecure Telnet back in 1995. Here's the full connection flow. TCP connects you on port 22, SSH versions are verified, encryption algorithms are negotiated, Diffie-Hellman creates a shared secret key, symmetric encryption locks everything down, the server's identity is confirmed via host keys, and you prove who you are with either a password or SSH key pairs. On top of that, you get port forwarding, SCP and SFTP for files, the SSH agent for key management, and a config file to simplify everything. SSH is one of the most solid and elegant protocols in all of networking. If this video helped, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment with the next topic you want covered. See you in the next one.